Woohoo! Italy and Hearts of Iron 4, as of By Blood alone, has, in my opinion, the greatest focus tree that has ever existed in this game. There's some really funky stuff here in the industry tree with the material designers, and there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just going to count these two as the same because they basically are. And then an 8th hidden path over here if you want to go with the Pope. 8 different political branches. However, there's one that's I never see anyone do, and it's actually pretty strong. Electrical engineering, this, that. Unlike most nations that start out with 3, we start out with 4 research slots, and I'm going to use the extra one on synthetic oil experiments because I have some experiments that I want to try out. We'll be seeing them soon. But we can't get started on politics yet until we figure out what we're doing in Abyssinia. So let's start out, take a few years to scroll all the way to the left and do Ethiopian war logistics. Civilian factories everywhere. We're going to want artillery. We're going to want anti-air. We're going to want trains. Fighters, even though they're really bad, but it'll help me to remember to get more later. Don't need 2 factories on trucks. Let's just do 1. And let's put a whole bunch onto artillery guns. And let's put another one on these tanks. These tanks are absolutely awful, but I actually have another plan for them we'll be seeing very shortly. Let's grab all the planes, send them over here. Now, if you don't know already, with the game mechanics with the Ethiopian war, they don't want you to send a large amount of troops over here because it will cause war escalation. However, if you are really, really good at the game, you can send the entire army at once. And if you defeat the Ethiopians quick enough, you can do it before they do the focus boarding the train. And that means that you won't have all these special things happen and they'll just die. And you really, really, really want to do that or else you'll be getting loads of resistance here and all sorts of nasty stuff. We could get started with spy agency now. I like spies. I think they're kind of cool, if not very useful. But we can get one for free right here, which we'll get soon. Ignore the rest of these warnings. Says Italy, most of your generals are pretty awful. Almost all of them are level 1. And we're going to lose like half of them with the path we're going right now. However, in hindsight, I know that this guy is going to stick around, so I'm going to go with this dude. And then ideally, you actually want to use low-level generals here, specifically ones with no traits already. So this guy looks great. He's already an organizer, or this guy, he's a cavalry leader, a combined arms expert. However, this is going to mean that they're going to gain experience for other traits a lot less quickly, and I don't really need either of these traits. Now, Prince Umberto and Prince Adalberto here, they are perfect since these are personality traits which don't matter for XP gain. Now, this war is super easy, so I'm just going to activate a battle plan right now. Except, if you look right here, I'm going to pause it, you can see right here, he is now gaining experience towards the trait Organizer, which is pretty decent for field marshals. However, I don't want it. I want him to get other stuff. Instead, I'm just going to delete the whole battle plan, and I'm just going to micromanage this myself. And very important, do not forget this, use your planes. The Ethiopians do not have any, and these planes can be very powerful. Even if they're really bad, it's better than nothing. End of the Christmas offensive, by any means necessary. This gives us 15% attack. It does raise the war escalation. However, we don't care about war escalation because we're planning to finish this off really, really quickly. Ethiopian war logistics are done. Let's follow up with army primacy. Italy annexes Sultanate of Osa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is important. You want to get the spirit of the academy as soon as you possible because these 2 generals are going to level up a lot and these will give you the opportunity to make them a lot better when they level up. So I'm going to go for bold attack because attacking wins wars. Unyielding defender. Just 10% defense. A lot of people actually don't know this, but having more defense on your divisions while they're attacking actually gives them more breakthrough. And breakthrough, if you don't know, is basically how much damage you take when you're attacking. So if you have higher breakthrough, you'll take less damage to your organization and can attack longer. At least that's how I understand it. If that's not how it works, you can correct me in the comments. All right, the supply situation basically everywhere is pretty awful. So I'm going to do motorization here, which will increase the range of the supply hub. So it'll be a little bit better in the south. And there is a supply hub here, although it's not connected to the main railway. So I'm going to build a railway to connect it. I'm going to prioritize that above anything else. So my personal preference for political power is the first thing I like to get is a chief of the army, because that'll allow me to develop my doctrines first. Now, as Italy, you have nothing but awful options, if I'm being honest. 2 of them are specialists, which means their bonuses really aren't all that good. However, you do have 1 expert whose bonus is absolutely awful, non-combat out supply penalties, which is a decent thing to get rid of, but it's only 6%. But he gives you more experience than anyone else. All these give you 0.2, he gives you 0.3 daily. So I'm going to go with this dude. Superior firepower. There is an argument for Grand Battle Plan. It is quite good. There's also an argument for mobile warfare. You do have an a theorist for mobile warfare as Italy, and it's pretty good. However, I'm just not that great with tank micromanagement, so I'm going to go with superior firepower. Okay, thank God. Okay, so there's a peace deal. This means that we beat them before they were able to relocate to the United Kingdom. This is what we wanted. So we're just gonna take all and call it a day. Our business is now done. Triumph in Africa has been completed. Next, we want to convene the Grand Council, but we can't do that yet until we play around with the balance of power. So we will slander, criticize, and we'll question the Navy's loyalty when we have enough experience. I'm exercising my Navy right now, so that shouldn't take too long. Never mind, we ran out of fuel, so they can't do exercises. All right, 10 experience. We should be able to click this button, and now we can convene the Grand Council. Next, depose Mussolini. And now we can continue to monarchy d'Italia. However, no, we can't actually. We need 25% support for non-aligned. Currently, we only have 4. Thankfully, we do have an advisor to help with that. The staunch monarchist right here for 135 political power. Now we wait. This is important if you want to play around with spies like I am. This isn't required or anything though. If you want to go to these 2 focuses, which give you some pretty nice bonuses to your spy agency, especially those operative slots, you can go down these 2 paths. However, they are locked if you aren't fascist, and we're not going to be fascist for much longer, so we need to do those now. Since we're just waiting for an online sport to go up, let's do some industry. Battle fleet designer. Italian highways is completed. Now you can go and do some stuff with your colonies, like developing Ethiopia. That allows you to set up an electric grid down there, which is pretty useful. Or you can go down this way, get some more factories. However, personally, I want to go for the extra research slot, so I'm going to start here. Italian highways has given us a nice bonus to infrastructure construction speed in all of Italy, so I'm going to take advantage of that and build some highways. Approximately this many. Light aircraft designer. So if you can read the bottom of this tooltip here, it says strengthen northern industry and new industrialization program will improve this designer. I'm only picking designers down here that will be affected by that focus, because they'll do some funky stuff after we do that focus. And by funky stuff, I just mean some melodramatic industry boosts. Better armor. Even though this is completely pointless for the strategy I'm going for, I like big ships just because I think they're kind of cool. This is a bad idea though. Don't go for the Navy if you're doing this path. Fighters. That look like this. So if we go into occupied territories and then look over here at the garrison log, you can see in the last 12 months we have lost 4,000 manpower in our garrisons. Remember this number for later. Let's make a battleship. Let's get rid of the aircraft facilities, replace that with a secondary battery. Let's get rid of the AA, replace it with a heavy battery. Upgrade this AA. We don't have any better fire controls to give it. Give it the best armor possible. We haven't researched the 3rd one yet, but we will soon. And that's it. Let's also design a cruiser together. Let's give it the best armor possible. Give it as much light attack as possible. So secondary battery and then another light battery. And then replace the AA with, guess what? A light battery. Torpedoes are good. And then this is good for spotting. And ideally we put some sonar on it, but we can leave that off for now. Improved worker conditions. Extra research slot. Doctrines. Passive defense. Rubber processing. This is going to be important later. You'll see. This is going to be controversial, but I'm going to go for field hospitals because Italy has a very decent industry, but it does not have a lot of manpower, and I'd like to conserve it. We have gotten the extra research slot, and I do believe we have 25% support for the non-aligned, so now we can go for monarchy d'Italia. And now, this is the path that nobody does. Revoke the Acerbo law. We are going to go for a constitutional monarchy. Democratic, but Democratic on the right. Now here's the decision. Do you go with the Democratic King, where Victor Emmanuel III becomes the leader of the Democratic Party, or do you go with this guy who I've never heard of? He has very bizarre bonuses. So political power gain makes sense. He's a politician. But then minus consumer goods factories. And it's only a small amount. And then party popularity stability modifier. There's an argument for both of them. I flipped a coin and it was tails. Next, let's cooperate with the moderates. Industrial concern. So now we're democratic, which means we don't have to fight France or the United Kingdom, which both have large navies bigger than ours, and we won't have to fight over our African holdings. And really, Germany is our only threat at the moment. This is the ideal division right now. I'm going to add field hospitals and maybe recon on this later, but this is what I'm going to be rolling with right now. And I'm going to be rolling out with a whole lot more, approximately this much. This much. Rubber refineries in Ethiopia. Don't worry, it'll make sense later. Moderates have been cooperated with. Now we can crush the opposition. Signal training. Now, unfortunately not. We've turned democratic. Oh, thank you, Yugoslavia. So since we're democratic now, we've lost access to pretty much all of our military high command. The capital ships expert is pretty good if you're looking to do a Navy game. I am, because I am stupid, but none of these other guys are really worth it. And this is why you train your lower level generals, because this guy right here, he's an infantry expert, which means that if you were level 4, or when he becomes level 4, we can make him an infantry specialist, and then hire him here. Opposition crushed. We will now disband the black shirts to get rid of all of our fascism support. Also Beretta. Interrogation techniques. So we managed to cover most of the country in maximum infrastructure before our bonus ran out. I think that's pretty decent. Black shirts disbanded. We will now go to foreign affairs. We will not be continuing down industry as you might think, because there's something here I want to do first. Balkan ambition. Remember all those light tanks you've been producing? Remember these ones? You should have about 2,400 like me by now if you're not using any tank divisions. So we're going to create a new division. It's going to consist of 3 light tank battalions. Next, we're going to go into occupied territories, replace the cavalry with that new division that we made. And we should have enough tanks, and we do. Now you can see, since there's very high resistance in a lot of these places, well, not very high, but there is resistance in a lot of these places, we're losing a lot of manpower. Now, how this is calculated and why you want to use light tanks for this is, if we go to this division, you can see that it has very, very high hardness. Now, the higher the hardness of your division, the less damage it'll take in these partisan attacks. So our garrisons will be taking less damage. So that's less manpower lost and less equipment lost. Also, I don't know if I showed this, but this is the tank we start out with. This is quite literally the cheapest tank you can possibly make. This is the only way I can make it cheaper, by removing these 2 points. But yeah, this is the armored lawnmower. Balkan ambition has been completed. That has unlocked a decision up here. Send an ultimatum to Yugoslavia. And that is what we are going to do. They should say yes. They've said yes in all my test runs anyway. Next, Albanian occupation. Yugoslavia submits. Now they are our puppet. Albania yields. A glorious day indeed. Oh, get out of the way. There. Why is that important? Well, you're about to find out, actually. Now, this is the focus we were looking for. Now, in order to do this, we had to have Dalmatia, which is a state in Yugoslavia, either controlled by a puppet or by us. Albania has to be controlled by us, and Victoria Emanuela has to be the leader of the country. Why is this important? It gives us a little bit of extra political power, which is always great, but it gives us 1% weekly stability. Stability will constantly be ticking up forever. Mobile defense. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, you talked about putting refineries in Ethiopia earlier and how it was important and it was going to make sense later. Well, what are you going to talk about why it makes sense? Well, I'm actually not. I was lying. I was just saying that to keep you engaged. I'm sorry. And by that, I mean I did have plans for them, but I don't think I'm going to have enough time to construct them because I think I need to focus more on military factories because we are running quite a few deficits at the moment. War is looming on the horizon, so preserve army traditions. So now that we've done this focus, we actually don't really care about Albania or Yugoslavia. It's kind of nice to have them, but I'm just kind of ignore them from now on. We want to get the army, air, and navy path as close as we can to super whatever it is on each path as possible so that we can do that immediately as we go to war, because this locks us behind a bunch of other stuff that we need to do to fix our state of military. Because as you can see, yeah, there's some issues here. I wonder why I'm guaranteeing the independence of Poland. Since, well, if you know your history, they're going to be completely surrounded by enemies here in about 5 minutes. Best guns. Static warfare, the best warfare. Assault aviation. Doctrines. Anti-air. So remember before when in 12 months we had lost 10,000 dudes in our garrisons? Well, now we're losing 62. Now, since I am using a decent amount of line artillery, there is something to be said for dispersed support here. However, I'm going to go with integrated support because this gives organization to my support companies, and superior firepower does lack a good bit of organizational bonuses. Poland has had war declared on it. We shall accept. We are now at war with Germany. Yippee. And for some reason, there's only one division here and only one division here, and there's about to only be one division here, so we might as well push out a little bit so we can be behind this river. Actually, what am I even thinking? We should be abandoning Yugoslavia. There, now we can focus our entire army on 4 tiles. Invite to faction, that's what I was looking for. So my defense here, I've got 2.5 armies right here, and it's mountains. So this should be an absolutely rock solid defense. There should be no way on earth that they're going to get through here. Did somebody say promotion? Did somebody also say offensive doctrine and army offense specialist? Must have been the wind. So I don't think they're ever going to get through here. So I'm going to take these 18 divisions and I'm going to send them over here to Belgium because I have a lot more sense than the French AI. Machine gun, cannons. Never mind, no cannons. We're going to have to wait for engine 3s. Unyielding defender. Doctrines. We now have the German cipher. However, I'm going to use it a little bit later. And the Netherlands disappeared before I could click record. Belgium has joined the Allies. All right, let's get in there. Yugoslavia would like to join the war. No, because that'll make my front bigger. Actually, let's wait here because we have entrenchment right now, which can be very, very helpful in the event of a massive German assault. The Germans are here, and it looks like we are holding very well, actually. War economy. What do the casualties look like? We've taken 13,000, almost 14,000 casualties. We have inflicted 500,000. Seek British military cooperation. This will give us a bunch of research bonuses on a whole bunch of stuff. Guess who forgot to use the cipher? Me. Let's start the counterattack, and let's start out on cautious. And we're demolishing them. Shock and awe. Remember refineries in Africa? Yeah, let's do that again. However, I forgot what I was going to do beforehand, so maybe I'll realize it when these are constructed, but don't expect much. All right, the attack in the north is stalling, so we're just gonna stop the attack for now. Let's get started on some factories. I have reached 100% intel for the German Reich. That's pretty cool. Let's check the casualties again. 70,000 on my side, 1.3 million on theirs. The whole war has turned into a massive stalemate. And Yugoslavia is in the fight. All right, now it's all gonna go downhill. Turkey requests light tanks. That's actually really funny because they're going to give me 2 whole civilian factories for 75 tanks. And they are quite literally the armored lawnmower. So you know what? Yeah, you can have 75 tanks. I've taken the war-hardened troops off of the Belgian border. There's about 200 other divisions there, so I think it's going to be fine if I subtract 25. Moving over to Bulgaria, I'm hoping to knock them out pretty soon before Romania joins in. Oh, Greece has joined in. Oh, that's perfect timing, actually. Got him. But what do the casualties look like? Well, we're trading about 1 to about 100, yeah. Goodbye. And look at that, Romania just turned fascist. The new industrialization program has been finished, so now all of these are going to give us some lovely bonuses. Cheaper infantry equipment here, factory and dockyard output here, cheaper tanks. Let's use the cipher again. Even 10% cheaper heavy ships. And that's all heavy ships. Let's get the best guns. Well, it's pretty ugly, but I have managed to capture Budapest, so that's pretty much all the supply in the area gone. Romania is in the war now. Not anymore. Goodbye, Hungary. We have reached a point with the Germans where we are trading about 1 to 100. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I encircled a very large area over here, and yeah, 350,000 casualties on their side. Now, do we start a mass infantry assault forward because I'm getting tired and I've been playing this game for a while? Or do we continue to dissect the front line until they have nothing left to stop us? Let's try the mass infantry assault, but let's do it on cautious, because that way they'll only attack if they know that they can win. Let's see how this goes. I'll be honest, I don't think I've attacked Germany from this angle before when I wasn't playing as Poland. Ooh, it appears we have captured a railway gun. And look at that, it's ours now. The German Reich has capitulated. All right, let's see what we want. Honestly, I don't really want anything. I'll liberate Czechoslovakia. And honestly, that's all I want. Epic. Now, since the Soviet Union never got involved in this war, there's no communism in Eastern Europe. However, Greater Hungary managed to survive. Those are my words. And this has been my video. Goodbye.